I, I will do seminars to groups on a, as they ask for it, if they request it. I've done over 30 in my 5 years that I've been there. I did promise the county commissioners that when they appointed me, that, and mostly because of my own personal experience. I frankly didn't really know what I was getting into, what probate was about. And I thought I had quite a range of experience, and so that kind of alarmed me, and I thought, well, if I'm in that shape, in that boat, maybe a lot of other people are. So I have routinely offered my services to groups. I've done many, many groups in town, the banks, whoever, will have me. It takes about an hour. I have an attorney that accompanies me for no charge. She feels as I do that this is a good public service. And she's there, frankly, because I have to be very careful that I don't give out legal advice. I can't, I'm not an attorney, and I have to be very careful. So she's there to kind of help me with that part of it as well. If invariably we'll get a question that is too legalistic, someone will have an issue right then and there, and so she takes over. But it's Catherine Blackett that does those with me wherever I go, except when I have to do them in Spanish. Then she kind of has to defer, but I can do them either in English or Spanish, and to groups, and I've done them. I just did one about a month ago in Chaparral to a church group in Spanish. So it's pretty, I got it down to almost a science, and it takes about an hour, and so that's what I will continue to do. But because I think it's very valuable. It really does open people's eyes as something that they can do before, while they're still, alive, and so many simple things that they could do that will save their heirs so much effort afterwards. I just had a case just before I came. They're going to have to go back to Grandma to probate Grandma because of the title of the land, and that's so common in this valley. So many properties are still in the grandparents' names or great-grandparents, and by the time you get to today, there's so many heirs you have to bring into the picture that it gets really, really complicated. And so I think it's important that people try to do things ahead of time, and that's the reason that I will continue to do them. And I think it's a very important part of my job. Well, I have about over 30 some years of government service in county level, state, federal, and I think I just know a lot about how the government is structured, and a lot of times besides following the probate code, of course, you have judgment issues, judgment calls, and I spent my whole life in public service. I seem to keep going back into it, and I think it's important that you have an empathy for people, that you understand where they're coming from and how they're, at that moment it's a difficult moment in their lives, and then you have that kind of empathy. When I worked for Senator Bingaman for 18 years, I thought I saw everything, all kinds of issues and problems that people had, but this is a whole different area, And I think that my master's level education is important in that I do have to decipher the probate code, and I don't have a legal background, but we have a wonderful, the Judicial Education Center has brought it down to to our level, to a non-lawyer level. We have good manuals and things, reference materials, but again, it requires reference. If I run into an issue that I haven't run into before, I do have to research it. And my research, training from my master's program definitely helps in that regard. Well, you know, one of the things that alarmed me when I first started, what I've done just to facilitate the work and make it more efficient is I have a regular schedule that is put out every month. The days that I'm available, the hours I'm available for whether it's probate or marriages or whatever. It's on my phone. If you call my office, you know what days I'm going to be there. I try to be accessible in that way. Beside that, one of the things that alarmed me when I began to work there was that of all the records in the county clerk's office, the probate records were the only ones that had never been imaged, going back to the 1800s. None of them have a backup. If someone, and you know, these are open records. If someone comes in the office, in the vault, and takes a will from a case, because they're open records, anyone can go through them. They take a will or a document, it's gone. There's no image of it. So last year, when Mr. Ellis became the county clerk, he asked me, what can I do for you? And I said, well, what I would like to do is I would like to begin imaging all the probate records starting from now and going all the way back. Some of these records go back to the days for the territorial days. Mm-hmm. And they're important in land transactions. You know, I don't know if you know that the probate records are, a probate court is a court of record. It's similar to the district court. And so a lot of land decisions go back sometimes to probate records. And so disputes involving that could be an important issue. And so we started in this year, and the county clerk helped me by obtaining a scanner, basically. I had no budget. My budget is very small, and I bought a little scanner to do the day-to-day, but to do a large volume and going back on the old records, we had to buy a bigger scanner. So he helped me in that regard. He helped by buying the scanner. And I have a part-time student, you know, that I can get out of my budget. It's about all I can afford. And she is already back. In 2010, we started doing all the current. As we take in the cases, sure, we scan them. Going back, she has gone back 3 years already, and this since we started this project. So definitely want to go through the 5 years that I've been there, for sure, okay, before if I have to leave. But I would like to see the project go all the way back, because what we're doing is, prior to this project, all we have is a database starting in 1989, where you can go in and all that was there was a listing of what was in the file. But now we'll actually have the document to marry the document with the list, so that eventually someone from the outside can go in the website and look up the record. They don't have to physically go to the courthouse.